On Larry King Now, radio royalty, Charlamagne Tha God, on whether or not his opinion of Kanye West has changed since their infamous on-air feud.
I'm always going to be a fan of Kanye West. I mean, the same reasons we love Kanye is the same reasons that we hate him. He's very outspoken. He says what's on his mind.
On his bold style of broadcasting.
I'm not doing anything with malicious intent. I'm just a fan. And I'm not going to ask you anything that's not out there. It's not like I'm going to, call somebody that you went to high school with and say, yo, who did she give to when she was in 11th grade?
Plus, Charlamagne gets political. You say you support Hillary Clinton just because she's a woman?
Absolutely. See, listen, I love novelty in my presidents. You know what I'm saying? The first time I ever voted was for Barack Obama. And, I voted for him because he was a black man who seemed like he was speaking to me in my generation.
All next on Larry King Now. Over the past decades, Charlamagne Tha God has taken the broadcasting world by storm, establishing himself as one of the most fearless interviewers in the industry. He currently co-hosts the massively successful, nationally syndicated radio show, The Breakfast Club. Charlamagne also stars on MTV2's hit show, Guy Code, and will be a featured co-host during the new season of MTV's Catfish. Guy Code airs Wednesdays, 11 Eastern on MTV2, while Catfish premieres Wednesday, February 25th at 10 p.m. on MTV. How'd you get that name?
Oh, man, when I used to sell drugs in Moncks Corner, South Carolina, Moncks Corner is a real small town. It's the population is less than 8,000. So, a lot of the fiends knew my parents. So I knew if I told them my real name, which happens to be Leonard Larry, and my father's name is Larry, so I'm a junior.
Your middle name is Larry?
Yeah, my father's first name is Larry.
I've never heard anyone with a middle name Larry.
So they would be like, that's Larry's son. So I used to say my name was Charles for whatever reason. And then when I was in night school, I was reading in a history book and I came across Charlemagne, which was French for Charles the Great. So I was like, I'm gonna start calling myself Charlemagne.
Did you make more money selling drugs?
Then what, radio?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Nah, I
not
thought selling drugs is a lucrative business.
I was never no Nino Brown, Tony Montana type of guy. I was a dude that used to sell what we call a quarter spoon, which was 7 grams. So that was you might spend $250 and make $500 back.
How'd you start in the radio business?
I started off as an intern because I was just one of those guys that was just tired of getting in trouble. And my father used to always say, man, if you don't change your life, you're gonna end up, in jail, dead, or broke sitting under a tree somewhere. And so it's just after a couple of times going to jail, I just made it up in my mind, in order to change my life, I gotta change my lifestyle.
All right, let's get some things current.
Okay.
Great having you with us, by the way.
Thank you for having me.
I guess you knew about me when you were a kid.
Absolutely. Come on, man.
All right, what'd you think of the Grammys?
I thought they were boring.
There's more performances than awards.
Definitely more performances than awards, and there's a lot of out-of-touch performances. They'll have somebody like Katy Perry perform a song on her album that nobody's familiar with, Even though it was a good message in it, a good social message with domestic violence, it's who cares about that record?
Also appealing to everybody, to everything, right? They're all over the board.
I don't even think they appeal to everybody. I think they appeal to whoever's on the Grammy committee. I think it's the old out-of-touch people on the Grammy committee who, say, hey, do this record, do that record. No disrespect to AC/DC, but AC/DC opening the show in 2015? Who's that for?
They're older than me.
Exactly.
Iggy Azalea was nominated for Best Rap, and we've had a lot of rap people on this show. What's the story? Why do they not like her?
I think people the main reason people hate Iggy Azalea is because they just don't think she's a good artist. That's what I think it is. I don't think they think she's a good artist. And the fact she's a white girl with a big butt from Australia. But nobody can admit that, because if they admit that, then that's admitting, hey, I'm prejudiced.
You think she's a good artist?
I think she's decent. Listen, man, for the things that have come through the entertainment industry in the past 15, 20 years, she's not the worst. And she definitely has something. If you look at her, I know I would sign her if I was an executive. I said that 4 years ago before she became who she is now, so I don't see why you wouldn't sign her.
What'd you think of Rihanna and Kanye and McCartney?
I thought it was dope. I like that record, 4 or 5 seconds. A lot of people say they actually don't like that record, but I like it. It's got a jewel feel to it. It feels like a country song almost. And I think it's a dope mashup. I think it's dope because it shows you got somebody super current Kanye and Rihanna, and then they're introducing an OG like Paul McCartney to a new generation. And the people that are in Paul, who may not be in the Rihanna and Kanye, get to, hear their talents now. So I think it's dope. I think it works for all parties.
You call it dope?
Dope, like, you know, cool.
Oh.
What they call it in your day? I don't know.
Cool.
Cool, okay. So dope is cool.
In my day, they called it cool.
So dope is cool. It's not just a drug anymore.
Kanye West made news by jokingly walking on stage when Beck won Best Album.
Yeah.
Did that work for you?
You know what? It worked until I realized he actually was serious. Because if you saw the after show he did on E, then he went into this whole rant about how Beck needs to respect Beyonce's artistry and give his award away to Beyonce, which I think is super whack because Kanye is calling for somebody to respect people's artistry, but he doesn't respect anybody else's artistry. Kanye West wants us to respect the artistry that he likes. You know, if he likes it, then we all should like it. And if he doesn't like it, then we shouldn't like it, which is hypocritical.
What do you think of Beck?
I thought Beck was a bear up until last night. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't listen to Beck at all.
I think he was shocked that he won.
I don't listen to him. I've heard of him, but if Sam Smith or Beyonce would have won, I'd have been cool. Or even Ed Sheeran. I listen to those albums. I don't listen to Beck.
Sam Smith's pretty good.
Sam Smith's dope, very dope. He's actually the male Adele. Adele left, took a break, and came back as Sam Smith. And then when Adele comes back, Sam Smith is going to take a break.
Has your opinion of Kanye changed over the years?
I'm always going to be a fan of Kanye West. I mean, the same reasons we love Kanye is the same reasons that we hate him. He's very outspoken. He says what's on his mind. He lives his truth.
You should like people that are outspoken.
I absolutely do, but, I also have the right to say when he says something I don't agree with, I have the right to express that as well.
You think why don't you have Kanye and Kim on?
Well, we've had Kanye on. I doubt Kim will come because we've given Kim a lot of slander over the past
What is her
few
talent?
years. She has none.
I'm trying to figure that out.
She has none at all. Kanye said that if we didn't care about beauty, the Kardashians wouldn't be famous. So basically he said, my wife has no other skills other than to look beautiful, and y'all would not know who she was if she wasn't pretty. That's basically what he said.
What'd you think about her possible stepfather changing genders?
That's interesting. It's interesting because I've been saying for the longest that the reason Rob Kardashian got fat was because he ate the man that Bruce Jenner used to be. And, hey, man, if he wants to be a woman...
That's his business.
That's his business, but I just think it's a little bit too late. He's too old to, be trying to be a bad bitch now. You know what I'm saying?
Unless he's been living with that all his life, then it's got to be. I mean,
but who's trying to pick up a 60-year-old woman at this age? Especially being a Kardashian-Jenner girl. You want to date a rapper, right? You want to get you a hot rapper. Ain't no hot rapper dating that old chick. It's not happening.
Stop digging old people.
No, I love her. Listen, I want to get old. I think age is a blessing, because the alternative is what?
Yeah,
death.
I know.
I'm trying to be here till 80. I just want my penis to work.
But it ain't the great world it's pretending to be. You know what I mean?
What, age?
Age.
Really?
I mean, you think, well, okay, trust me. I mean, it's better than the alternative.
I just want, if your penis works, that's all I care about.
Okay.
Your penis and your brain. That's all I want to work.
And they're connected.
Exactly.
Charlamagne dishes on the power of rap and hip-hop on race relations in America as well. Stay with us. We're back with the multi-talented Charlamagne Tha God. Next you'll do movies and you'll be on your way.
I've done a couple movies. I'm working on some things, some scripted shows and things of that nature. So, hey, man, from your mouth to God's ears.
Okay, you got your break with Wendy Williams. What's the story with you and her?
Well, I was doing radio in Columbia, South Carolina at the time. I've been fired from radio 4 different times in my career. So this was one of those times where I
fired for cause?
They hire new program directors. The new program director doesn't like my style. He's too ghetto. He's too outspoken. Why does he have an opinion? That type of stuff. And so I got with Wendy because I had met her in Columbia because she was syndicated on our radio station. So me, her, and her husband, Kevin, built a good rapport from there. And I actually got demoted from the station I was working on at that time. And when she heard about that, she asked me to come to New York. So I came to New York. I went to a party that she was doing, and she asked me to come on her radio show. So I went on her radio show, and I was there for 20 minutes, and she was like, her and her husband were like, yo, we want you to be her co-host. And they was like, we can't pay you, but we can give you a place to stay. So I was like, cool. And I think that's a problem with a lot of kids nowadays. They don't recognize opportunity unless it's got a paycheck.
So you paid for your place to stay. How'd you earn money?
Sometimes I would fly back to South Carolina and do parties, or, sometimes I didn't have money.
Why did you break with Wendy?
Because it was 2008, and that's when the economy was really messed up. So they fired 40 people from the radio station, and I was one of the people that got fired from the radio.
But they fired you. They weren't paying you.
Oh no! I eventually did get paid after a year and a half. After a year and a half, I got put on the payroll from WBLS, And, you know, then they fired me like in
Told that
2008.
last year she said she didn't know you or something.
She said she didn't know me.
What do you make of that?
Hey, man, I think people get famous and they get successful.
She resents it?
They just tend to forget the people that...
Why wouldn't she take credit? She could say she discovered you.
That's what I would say. I mean, for everything she's got going on, her portfolio, it would be dope to be like, that's my prodigy. You know what I'm saying? For me, anyway, that's what I would do.
You're outspoken about race relations. I always have been. I marched to integrate beaches in South Florida. I've never understood.
Now, hold on. What did you say? You said you marched to integrate beaches in South Florida?
Yeah, they were segregated.
Oh, okay.
I marched.
Got you.
I've never understood. I've asked the question all through my career. Why should the color of skin matter?
Listen,
I've never understood it.
You're preaching to the choir, man. I subscribe to what Martin Luther King Jr. said when he said a man should be judged by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. And in 2015, I say color of the skin, I say religion, I say gender, I say sexuality. All I care about is if a person is a good person.
What a waste of time.
It's a waste
Money,
of time.
Stupid.
And who got time for all those preconceived notions to walk in and be like, oh, he's racist because he's white, or he's a thug because he's black, or he works hard because he's a Mexican. I don't know that until I actually sit down and have a conversation with a person.
I never understood it. You recently hinted that rappers and hip-hop artists perpetuate negative stereotypes.
I mean, I think art is a reflection of life. And, you know, I think it's a lot of social issues that we haven't dealt with as a people that cause our people to, you know, gravitate towards the thug life or the gangster lifestyle. And we do express it through our music. And that music does reinforce it because, you know, when you see people that are celebrating the drug culture or celebrating the gang culture, it makes it look cool. And if you got this little kid that's growing up in the hood who's 7 or 8 years old and he's listening to this music, in his mind, that's the way he has to be in order to be successful. Because listen, at the end of the day, young black kids, all we want to do is be successful. So when we look on television and see people that look like us, what are they usually doing? They're either in entertainment, you know, the rap world, or they're in athletics. So I either want to play ball or I want to be a rapper. But you can't get a tattoo on your face at 12 years old and think that you're going to be successful in life.
You got well known for asking tough questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
That came easy to you?
Absolutely, because I'm a fan at the end of the day.
Did you lose guests by that?
I definitely think it's some people who don't want to come on the show, you know, because of that. But they got to understand, I'm not doing anything with malicious intent. I'm just a fan. And I'm not going to ask you anything that's not out there. It's not like I'm going to, you know, call somebody that you went to high school with and say, yo, you know, who did she give fellatio to when she was in 11th grade? Like, nobody cares. I'm only going to ask you the things that's out there.
Yeah.
So it's like,
anybody ever walk out on you?
Anybody ever walk out on me? Yeah, one of my first interviews that kind of got me popular was a young video vixen who got mad at me because I said, yo, what are you gonna do when you, I'm back to the old thing, what are you gonna do when you get older and, you know, your butt starts to sag and your breasts start to fall to the floor and nobody respects you for your looks anymore, you know?
Good question.
Don't you wanna be known for more than just your body? And she walked out.
You say you support Hillary Clinton just because she's a woman?
Absolutely. See, listen, I love novelty in my presidents. You know what I'm saying? The first time I ever voted was for Barack Obama. And, you know, I voted for him because he was a black man who seemed like he was speaking to me and my generation. And, you know, 2016, I'm going to do the same thing for Hillary because I like Bill and she supports Barack and she's a woman. Like, I can't go back to just the plain white president.
So you'll vote for the first gay president?
Absolutely. If they're speaking on some things that connect with me.
Right, they have to connect with you.
Absolutely. But I'm all about novelty.
You think we'll have a transgender president? Who knows? Never say never.
Never say never. Yeah, this is America.
What do you think of Obama?
I mean, from what I've seen, he's done a great job. Like, look, I can only gauge people based on what I see with my naked eyes. And it's only a couple presidents who I've seen do things that directly affected people in the hood. I remember when George Bush put out those stimulus checks. Like, I know guys in the hood and women in the hood who got those checks. So I was like, oh, wow, the government's actually doing something that's benefiting us. And same thing with Barack Obama when it comes to the Affordable Health Care Act. It's like, I know people who didn't have health care until that was implemented. Yeah. So it's like, to me, he's done a pretty good job.
After the break, for the first time in Larry King Now history, Charlamagne and I are going to take your phone calls. You won't want to miss this. I've been taking calls and broadcasting all my career for the Voice of America, for CNN, around the world, so I'm used to doing it. And now that I'm on the internet, we haven't taken calls on this show because we tape it, but we've set up in advance to take calls for you because you take calls, right?
Absolutely. Okay. I've been trying to get MTV to do a show that takes live calls, and I always say in the meetings, let's do what Larry King was doing.
There's nothing like calls.
Nothing like it.
Now let's take our first call from Chicago, Illinois. You're on.
I wanted to know how you felt about the Rihanna, Kanye, and Paul McCartney performance.
I thought it was a dope performance. I like that song 4 or 5 seconds. A lot of people saying that they don't like it for whatever reason, but I just think it's a dope record, And the one thing I like about Rihanna, she never lets anybody put her in a box as far as music is concerned. She'll do pop records, she'll do urban records, she'll do country, whatever. She doesn't care. So I thought it was
She's a great
dope.
talent.
Great talent.
Next caller is from Cranford, New Jersey, for Charlamagne Tha God. Go ahead.
Hi, Larry. Hi, Charlamagne. My name is Kian. How are you guys?
What's up, bro?
Fine. What's the question?
So I was just wondering, Charlamagne, with the recent collab that you just talked about between Kanye, Rihanna, and a legend in the rock field like Paul McCartney, do you think that we'll be seeing more blending of genres in the future of music?
Good question.
I mean, it's been going on for a while. I mean, you think about the Aerosmith, Run DMC collaborations. You think of Nelly and Tim McGraw. I think it's been going on for a long time. But I think hip-hop has to not be afraid to step outside of the box and do those kind of collaborations. And I think, artists like the legends like Paul McCartney and them can't be afraid of hip-hop.
How about Tony Bennett?
Tony Bennett. I don't know who would collaborate with Tony Bennett.
He's doing it.
What would be your dream collab? I mean, what hip-hop artists do you see performing with a rock icon?
A dream collab. I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, all my I like Nirvana growing up, but Kurt Cobain is no longer with us, so I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, you could still have Dave Grohl doing some stuff. He's still active in the music scene with the Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for the call. He's still hanging tough. He's tough with Crawford. The next caller is from Aurora, Illinois.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, wow. Can't believe this. Well, first off, Mr. King, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak. Charlamagne, the production team, they're awesome. They really gave me this opportunity. I really can't believe it. Charlamagne.
Yes, sir.
Oh, my goodness. Where do I begin?
We'll begin with a question.
We can do that. Well, a lot of things happened in 2014 in the music industry that you addressed, and I feel like you didn't address.
Okay.
But what I want to ask you is, out of 2014, personally, in your heart, I want you to name the top 5 artists that ran 2014.
Okay,
and I'm not talking about album sales. I'm not talking about who had Billboard the longest.
All right, who are the top 5 artists? Thanks very much, Aurora.
Killer Mike, a rapper of mine that I really enjoy. Beyonce, Sam Smith, Ed Sheeran, and another rapper by the name of YG from the West Coast.
Our next caller is from New York City. Go ahead.
Hello, how are you? My question for Charlamagne is, how do you explain hip-hop hesitation to recognize the LGBT community without the need for jokes or insults like no homo?
Good question.
Yeah, it's funny, man, because I have a theory about homophobia. My theory about homophobia is what are you scared of? You're either scared of gay people or you're scared that you may be gay. And I think that a lot of times people are homophobic because of their own insecurities. They're scared of their own karma. And what I mean by that is, guys, we've, basically, for lack of a better term, defecated on women for years. We've always not shown women any respect, and we catcall women when they walk by, woo, woo, you got a fat ass, whatever, whatever. And I feel like we're afraid of our own karma and afraid that guys are going to do us like that.
And we'll take one more call. Groton, Massachusetts, for Charlamagne Tha God. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, what's your question?
My question is, what's your measure of success? Are you more concerned with being well-liked or having good ratings?
Oh, man, honestly, neither. My measure of success is just, being able to be in a position to help, be in a position to, help other people fulfill their dreams. Being in a position to help my family or my friends. I'm just happy to be here. I didn't go to college. All I got is a high school degree. I grew up on a dirt road in Mounts Corner, South Carolina. I sold crack. I used to work at Taco Bell. Now I'm getting interviewed by Larry King. I'm good.
By the way, when I grew up, I always wanted
When I die, I'm a trend on Twitter.
I always wanted to be in broadcasting, and my heroes were like Arthur Godfrey, Red Barber, Mike Wallace. Who were yours?
Oh, man, Howard Stern, Petey Green, Wendy Williams, guys like yourself, Bill O'Reilly, Rush Limbaugh. And people are always, when I say Bill O'Reilly, Rush Limbaugh. I mean, only because they're entertaining. I don't necessarily have to agree with what they do, but them as personalities, they're entertaining personalities. They're polarizing. Whether you love them or hate them, you're going to listen. And those are the people that I was intrigued by. Frankie Crocker.
Have you ever regretted anything you said on the air?
Yeah, of course. I'm human,
When you have a famous guest, you ever get a little nervous?
Never. The only person that's ever made me nervous was the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Why?
I don't know.
I've interviewed him a few times.
But I still asked the questions I wanted to ask him, but I felt it.
I got it.
When he came in the room.
Rihanna's your dream guest?
She's one of them for this year. I'd love to have Rihanna on, as well as Katy Perry. Because like I said, I don't do interviews. I like to have conversations.
I got it. In our final moments, Charlamagne will play a little game of If You Only Knew. Don't click away.
I got called Bunkie Nose until the 8th grade. I don't know if y'all know what a bunkie is, but a bunkie is a butt. So I basically told me I had an ass on my face until the 8th grade. And this one girl used to sing it in the hallway. Bunkie Nose.
That was a clip from MTV's Guy Code. What's your role on that show?
It was actually MTV too, but I'm just the guy that they have on the show, and I talk about the Guy Code, guy stuff.
How did that come about? How'd you get that gig?
I was doing radio. I'm doing, the Breakfast Club in New York, and I got approached by Paul Ritchie and Chris McCarthy and Candida, and they just asked me if I wanted a television deal. And I'm like, why the hell would y'all want to give me a television deal? I don't do TV. So I signed the television deal, and that happened to be the first show. And that show has been so successful. We're on season 5, and it spawned off a bunch of spinoffs. So I stumbled across a TV career.
Now you're going to co-host Catfish. What's that about?
Catfish is a show where, you did radio. I always say radio personalities, we were the original Catfish. Like, they'd hear our voice and think that we were some attractive guys that they'd grow to love. Well, now it's evolved to the social media age where people take pictures that aren't necessarily theirs. You might take a picture of Channing Tatum, say that's you, and some girl falls in love with you, and then, we go out and catch the person that's catfishing the girl. Yeah, that's pretending to be Channing Tatum.
Let's play a little game of If You Only Knew. I'll just throw questions at you. First girl you kissed.
Okay. First girl I kissed. I don't remember. It's funny when you said that. I thought about the first time I ever ejaculated, and that was with a girl named Bryn. Like, kiss. I don't remember the first girl I ever kissed.
How old were you when you ejaculated?
16.
16?
I was 16. And it's funny, I was having sex with another girl prior, but I never ejaculated until I had sex with this girl.
What did it feel like?
My whole body went stiff. And it's like, it really seemed like the 4th of July fireworks went off in my mind. And it was like she said, tell me when you're about to ejaculate. But I already had did it by the time she...
You remember her, though?
Oh, absolutely. Her name was Bryn. She used to drive a purple Galant from Mounts Corner, South Carolina.
Guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure. My guilty pleasure is Girls on HBO.
Most overrated rapper.
Most overrated rapper would absolutely have to be... Who's the most overrated rapper? Oh... I don't know. Right now, I don't think there is no overrated.
No, as if they're famous, they deserve it.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody that's
Who's
overrated.
underrated?
Underrated, I think it's a guy named Killer Mike. He's with a group called Run the Jewels, but he's actually a solo artist as well. And he's just dope, man. He's very socially conscious. He raps about things of socially redeeming value, and he's one of my top 5 favorite MCs of all time.
Proudest accomplishment?
My daughter, getting married.
How old?
She's 6 now. And I'm married. Me and her mother have been together for 17 years. We just got married last year.
Wow, congratulations.
We've been together since high school. So that was my proudest accomplishment, being a man.
What's your daughter's name?
Her name's Amira. And putting my penis in the rafters, hanging it up, being faithful.
That's it.
That's it.
Done.
Man. Coming to LA and staying in the hotel room by myself and not calling a jump off to come over. I'm proud of stuff like that.
What keeps you up at night? What do you worry about?
Oh, man, just keeping this going, continuing to be successful, but then you have to understand that it's out of your control. Only thing I can do is keep God first, stay humble, and keep working.
Best advice you ever got?
Best advice I ever got was be the change that you want to see in the world, treat people the way that you want to be treated.
Favorite curse word? The best.
The best one ever.
Song we'd be most surprised to find on your iPod?
I have all 3 Katy Perry albums on my iPod, from Teenage Dream to Prism, all 48 songs.
You like her?
I love Katy Perry. But right now, it'd probably be One Direction, best song ever. That song is, incredible.
If not broadcasting, then what?
Man, I don't even like having that hypothetical. I don't even like putting that. I don't know, and I don't want to know.
Neither
what
do
my life
I.
would be like without broadcasting.
Thing you'd most like to change about the world?
Prejudice, man. Get rid of all prejudice. I mean, from racism to homophobia to gender inequality. Just get rid of prejudice, period. I wish everybody could just see people as people and judge you based off the content of your character and nothing else. If you're a good person, we love you. If you're a bad person, F you. Send them to jail.
Best part about working in New York?
Best part about working in New York, I mean, doing morning radio, you're on top of the world. Like, it's the #1 market. You're on top of everything. Like, I get to set people's opinions. I can shape and mold people's opinions throughout the day. Like, people could turn the radio on in New York and go to work and have that water cooler talk with, did you hear what Charlamagne said about Kanye West last night at the Grammys? And it's like, you know, by the time I say it on the morning show in New York, it gets all the way around the world damn near. So, like, that's
You
the
ever
best thing.
go back to South Carolina?
All the time. I just did a turkey drive there for Thanksgiving in my hometown. I gave away like 700, 800 turkeys.
Must have been rough, though, for a black kid growing up there.
You know, contrary to popular belief, it wasn't. You know, like my mother was an English teacher, you know what I'm saying? So she used to always have me reading a whole bunch of different books.
Was it all black school?
No.
No?
Like I grew up around white kids, Mexican kids. Like I never started seeing race till.
So you didn't live in a segregated community?
Absolutely not. Like, I mean, it was a bunch of black kids that lived on our dirt road, but it was also white kids that lived on our dirt road and Mexican kids that lived on our dirt road, and we used to all kick it. Like, I didn't understand what prejudice was until I got to like 6th grade, because I was going to a school in Charleston, and then when I came to Berkeley Middle School, like all my older cousins who ended up being the thugged out ones, who ended up in jail and stuff, they started beating me up for hanging with all the white kids. I didn't know I was hanging with the white kids. I'm just hanging with the kids that are in my class. I didn't look at them and say, oh, these kids are white. So he's like, why are you always hanging around all the white kids? Walking around with them stupid ass glasses in that fanny pack.
What does your father, Larry, do?
Larry, he does construction, you know, but he's always been just a hustler, you know.
Good man?
Good man, you know. Good man, but he can be a sometimes. That's all. I hate to say, you know.
You're a good man, too.
Word. Thank you.
I'll see you in New York.
Absolutely.
Big thanks to my guest, Charlamagne Tha God. Be sure to check out his radio show, The Breakfast Club, as well as Guy Code on MTV2 and the new season of Catfish on MTV. As always, you can find me on Twitter at Kings Things. I'll see you next time.